This is my podcast, OnyxRose, a journey through FFS. And I just wanted to pop on because I've got this new podcast material or this new podcast setup thingy. Let's take a look. See, there it is. Okay, can you hear me now, Yanni? Oh, snap. Okay. Hold on. Let me see what I can do here. Okay. I know what I can do. Give me just a second. Microphone check, microphone check. How's that? Yay! I think we're going again. I will have to work on my little podcast machine. I am not sure how that is working, so it'll be something. It'll be a work in progress. I think I'll have to get Egg on here to help me with this, as she does with most things. But yeah, like I said, it is my 10th day out from FFS surgery. This is OnyxRose from onyxrose9.substack.com. I also am podcasting at OnyxRose, a journey through FFS. And if you don't know what FFS is, it's facial feminization surgery. It's not one surgery. It is thanks, Yanni. It's a multitude of surgeries. So I will have about a multitude of procedures. I will have maybe 8 or 9 procedures done at one time. We're going to knock it all out. I'm hoping that I come out feeling radiant. I know there will be a lot of pain. 12 to 14 hours is no joke. So I'm ready for that. I just I don't want to have complications. I don't want to have to go back into surgery again because honestly, I can't afford it. It's amazing that I can afford it this year. I had to take out a loan, which I really didn't want to, but I did anyway. So I'm hoping and throwing up universal chance. Pulling cards, holding my crystals, meditating, doing some Ifa divination, whatever I can do in order to kind of get this off the ground and running and in safe order. So yeah, 10 days out. I'm not nervous right now. I'm calm, and that's good. I do have my hospital pre-op tomorrow and my psychiatrist visit tomorrow. So I have my psychiatrist visit first, and then my hospital pre-op second. So I've got all my doctors across the board on board. They have all sent in letters or anything that has been needed for my aftercare, and it's gone to my surgical team. So that has been taken care of. Everything else is falling into place. Egg is ready. Like I said before, she's going to take me to the hospital at 6 o'clock in the morning, drop me off. We're going to hang for a little bit. Then, as I'm being wheeled back, she's going to leave. And then I don't know if she's going to come back that night or if she's going to come back the next morning. I suggest she comes back the next morning. We have a wee dog. His name is Nix, and he's a black pug, and he cannot hold his bladder but like 5 hours. So, and also he doesn't sleep by himself. So we are going to have her go back home, and then I will be in the hospital. I'll be in recovery, and then the next day, the surgeon will come by, take a look at me, and hopefully release me. I have a feeling that's what happens. That's what everything I've seen, everything I've heard says that you will be released after that, and then I'll be shipped off home. With drains in my face, and staples in my head, and sutures in my mouth, and sutures over here in my ears. I mean, like on this little area right here, and on this little area right here, because I'm getting a facelift and a neck lift, so I can get rid of these double, triple chins right here that I already got going on. You know, I am a person who has some weight. I am close to 280. So I'm not tall anymore. I used to be 6'1". Now I am 5'11". Yes, I shrunk on estrogen. Too bad my feet didn't shrink. Yeah, because I've heard that, and I know people whose feet have actually shrunk taking estrogen. So that did not happen to me. I did not get that lucky, and I am pretty upset about that. That being said, I did shrink, so I am 5'11" instead of 6'1". Um, y you know, um, the wonders of estrogen, really. I didn't get all the fat redistribution that I wanted. My fat is in my tummy, um, but it didn't go to my hips or my butt, which is where we gals like it to go to. You know what I'm saying? So, y- you know, that is okay. Exercise will help that. Exercise, progesterone, and estrogen will help that. What I'm hoping for in this surgery is that my face is okay enough so that when I lose weight, it doesn't look too sunken in or crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, um, that is really the long and short of it. I was trying to test this little podcast machine that I have here. I'm not sure what I did wrong. Everything is plugged in as it should be. Um, but I just got it. It does have a cute little mic. So instead of using this mic, which I'm doing, I should be using this mic, but I can't get it to get a sound. So I'm not sure what is going on. I will fix it, and hopefully I'll be able to use it sometime soon. Um, I do have my podcast. All I know is when you picked it up, it went dead. Oh, was it working beforehand? Did you hear me through the mic, Yanni? I don't know. We'll see. So if it was working beforehand, then it's something I did by picking it up. Oh, it was working. Okay. Okay. So, well, then I will have to work on that myself and get it fixed up and not really move it again. But I've read all the instructions, so theoretically I can run this machine. However, I am not good at technology. So, it's usually Egg who helps me set it up. We run it through a test, and then I will use it. Now, these microphones, of course, I knew how to use already, so I didn't have to have Egg. I got these cute little microphones off of TikTok, and my tripod. I have two tripods from TikTok, and this tripod is cute because it has pink and two lights on either side, so that I can brighten my lovely face. And You've been in radio for 20 years. Oh, cool. Honestly, I wish I had gone into radio. I had a radio, well, not station, but a radio program in college, um, where I would play deep cuts off of albums that nobody else was playing. And it was fun because I had a pretty big following. Now, West Georgia, for West Georgia, it was a big following. And people in West Georgia did not listen to the kind of music I listened to. So there was a pocket of people, and I was reaching them. Yeah, music radio is way too safe. They keep on playing the same tracks over and over. And it's not a deep cut. It's always the same, number one song or number two song or popular song. That is something that I begrudge and I bemoan. Um, 99X. I don't know if y'all know 99X, but it's the alternative radio station, or what they call the alternative radio station in Atlanta. It plays. Oh wow, you don't even program anymore. Yeah, 99X plays, Smiths, Morrissey, Nine Inch Nails, Cranberries, things like that. But these are all music that you would hear in the fucking grocery store now. So while it was alternative in the 90s, it's not really super alternative now. It's just regular old music. What I want are new bands, deep cuts from old bands. And I have, I've found my way to these new bands. I I like to stay current in my music. I also listen to a wide variety of music in terms of genres. The only genre I really don't listen to all that much is country. Um, so I was dying to be on a modern rock station, but all but rock. Yeah, wow. I do like modern rock. I do wish, like I said, it was more deep cuts. There are several college radio stations around here. The most famous being Georgia State's uh, radio station, which was called Album 88 for years. And Oh, you work on a country station in the afternoons. Okay, Yanni. Yeah, Al 88 was the radio station that if you wanted to hear deep cuts, new bands, when tickets to like bands that were just up and coming, stuff like that, then that's the station you would listen to. Georgia Tech Radio, same thing. We had jazz radio, stuff like that. Classical radio. Um, in terms of country, Yanni, I I like the old school country. Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn. I guess I could keep on going. Johnny Cash. But I don't like the new Patriot. Let me get my pickup truck and my gun and my dog. Praise America. I don't like that shit. It just doesn't sit right with me. Um, Oh, Thursdays, you do Throwback Thursdays. Now that sounds fun. That 99X does something like that. Um, every every day, I think at 12, well, Monday through Friday at 12, where they have something. It's called the House of Retro Pleasure or something like that, where they go back and play different music. So they'll play, instead of playing, I don't know, Cranberries, they'll play Susie Sue and the Banshees, Susie and the Banshees, they'll play like Peekaboo or some shit like that, thinking that they're really alternative. Um, but they're not. I let's see. If you don't stand for the red, white, and starry blue, I'll cry and pee in my pants. Yeah, that's the kind of music I don't like. And also the pop country, the country pop. I guess that started with Shania Twain. I don't know who it really started with, but I don't like it. It's horrible. I don't like the fact that country has so many problems with racism, bigotry, transphobia, homophobia, all the phobias basically, Islamophobia, any kind of phobia you can think of, country music today has. Oh my God, the Jonas Brothers. Well, that's showing you something. And that's telling you something, that if the Jonas Brothers have a country hit, then we're all going to shit. The country as a whole is going to shit. Um, well, but we already knew that, didn't we? So, but yeah, back to, music is one thing. I have a passion for music. I listen to music all the time. It is always on in the background. I have a passion for writing, even though I'm not good at it. And that's why I call myself the bloody awful poet. I am not the best poet in the world, but I love my poetry. And really, honestly, I love it so much that I figure if I love it, somebody else out in the world has got to love it, even if it's one or two people. And that is great for me. Um, as far as writing is concerned, I wrote every day for about 6 years. Uh, Managed to cull together about 256 pages, I think it is, of a manuscript called While Having Tea, which started out as a tea journal because I love tea so much. I was exploring all the different teas, the pu'ers, and where they came from. How tea started, and loved it. Then it turned into me writing about a manic episode I was having at the time. So I wrote myself out of this manic episode, which was kind of looking back on it, it's kind of crazy. Um, and then uh, and then it switched to a transition journal. All of a sudden I was transitioning, and so I stopped writing so much about tea, and I stopped writing so much about other extraneous things and focused on my transition. And that was at the beginning of my transition in 2015. 2015 was when I started the real life series, the real life thing, which is where you um, dress in your chosen gender and kind of walk around town, and basically you live your gender without taking hormones, which is insane, if I say so myself. It's super insane. Like, you're going to subject this person to even more violence by making them do this real life test shit. Anyway, the real life test is something that was popular back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Yeah, you're beginning to think your gender and sexuality are both yes. I agree too. Yes, yes, and yes. um, but yeah, so that I think that went the way with Harry Benjamin. So real life tests don't really happen that much anymore, in the sense of make a therapist or a psychiatrist making you do this for a period of time before they write a prescription for hormones. And not to be an ass, but cis people should not be in charge of trans medicine, transition, and therapy. And that goes for therapists and psychiatrists. Yes, they are great. I have had a great cis therapist for years. Um, I am with a new cis therapist. Um, my new cis therapist is not in the queer community. So, that's me navigating that. Um, I had to wait, I don't know, let me see, 6 months in order to get a letter for hormones. Just a letter. And that letter cost me $150. So you see what I'm trying to say here is that at every step during transition, you have to get one or two letters from a therapist. You need to get a letter from a psychiatrist. You need to get a letter from an endocrinologist. It's just crazy. So it's gatekeeping, it's medical gatekeeping. When people who are of age know they want to transition, and even if they're younger, children, give them puberty blockers. Puberty blockers are not going to do anything except for what they say. Block puberty. And honestly, if you want me to be truthful, if Okay. If a child, and by child, I mean anyone under the age of, let's say, 15, 16, because I believe at 15 or 16, maybe 12, 13, you get to start making decisions on your on how you want to go, whether you want to transition or you want to stop taking puberty blockers and just let it go as the cis person you were, or were being. Um, so yeah, puberty blockers for the young ones, hormones for us older people, and we shouldn't have to wait for it. We should just be able to go to an endocrinologist or a care center and just be like, I'm trans, I'm ready to start hormones, and it should be informed consent, of course, which it is, in several places. But I had to go the route of an endocrinologist, and I had to go the route of paying 150 for letters from both my psychiatrist, and then for my surgeries, I had to get 2 letters each. So, and 2 letters each is $300. Um, you know, yeah, Yanni, I just, yeah, I'm kind of done with white cishet men too. They're ruining everything about this country. Um, and that includes trans healthcare. Um, that includes everything else pretty much. Like, the country's going down a shithole. And to be completely honest, I would be happy to leave this country and go to someplace like Portugal. The problem I have with all of this is that I'm a trans woman or a trans person because I'm non-binary, but I am binary like 8% of the time. I know it sounds strange, but yes, I am non-binary except for 8% of the time when I feel like I'm on the binary scale. Now, let's be honest, there is no one person who is 100% straight and one person who is 100% queer, in the sense that there is no, to me, there is no binary. There is a gender spectrum, or a spectrum in anything. If you are ace, there's a spectrum on the asexual spectrum side. So there are spectrums, and being one or the other is not necessarily what I think. So, Yanni, you said your first crush was Grace Jones. Yes, yes, and Annie Lennox. Yes. So, yeah, I can tell you've always loved the non-binary peeps. Although Grace Jones, they do present Grace Jones. I don't know what their gender is. I believe she is. I believe she is a woman who is a woman, uh, assigned female at birth, and does not want to transition or anything like that. Same with Annie Lennox. Um, but oh, you identify as non-binary. Okay. Well, welcome. I'm glad you are in the family. Hey, Brandon, Trump won't be around forever. Yeah, let's hope he passes within the next year. Hopefully. So, um, yeah, let's hope someone just as bad doesn't take his place. JD Vance, any of those nuts in the higher up positions, they can all go to hell. Oh, Grace is fully non-binary. I did not know that. Okay, coolio. Um, so yeah, in terms of gatekeeping, it's just not right. It's a problem that we're having in the trans community. Now, with all the laws, of course, people are trying to restrict us from getting hormones, getting surgeries. Insurance companies are quickly closing insurance down in terms of trans healthcare. Um, the best he said, JD Vance is Richard Nixon without charisma. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's 100% true. 100. But yeah, back to trans healthcare. It's just something that I worry about for trans youth, for the people growing up, and not even just trans youth, people who are older. There's going to be a lot of death, and that death will be squarely placed on Republican hands and those centrist Democrats that are voting with Republicans. So fuck them. And as a matter of fact, fuck the two-party system altogether. Just pop, pop, pop. Let's get another system. Um, I worry for all of us, Yanni. Yeah, I worry for all of us. It's it's some crazy times, and if oh wow, okay. So I wasn't that young, Yanni. I was probably out of high school when I started, or mid high school when I started feeling different. Not sure what was going on. It was some periods of experimentation, some time of experimentation outside of high school, in college, and then outside of college. As I've said before, I was always like, why does it feel like I'm a lesbian when I'm a guy? I feel like I should have born a woman and been a lesbian. a woman who loves other women. So that was how I got started. I started down a rabbit hole and I was searching internet, uh, everything. I came across this book called True Selves, and that book just about blew my mind. I was like, yes, that is exactly me. I read it cover to cover, and a lot of multiple times. I read it cover to cover. I had a path at that point. It was almost an instruction booklet for me how to transition, but it's called True Selves. Look it up. If you know someone who's trans, or someone who's suspecting they're trans or non-binary, and uh, they're working on their gender or exploring their gender, um, for trans people, it's a good book. I believe it still holds up. I haven't really looked at it in a minute. I do have it on my shelf. I would have to find it because it's buried amongst all the other gender related books. But yeah, it's a good book, and it kind of helped me on the way. No, I didn't just say it as a joke at first. I was like, "Oh, this is great." No, 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 no. It wasn't a joke ever. I was like, "Why do I feel like a lesbian?" Like, it was imprinted in my brain. I was like, "This is strange." This is really strange because, because yes, because and I think it's the same thing that a lot of trans women go through, especially transbians, or non-binary people who are femme identified. It's like, why am I assigned male at birth, but don't feel male? That was my position. That was my position when I was younger. 11, 10, all that good stuff. I played soccer, football, and I played all the way up through college. So it was a little strange because I had to play with footballers, and footballers by nature are jocks, and I was not a jock, but I was a footballer. So I played a lot of, yeah, exactly. I was always the more effeminate type of player, but I was good. That's the thing. I was really good. So, um, I tried to play basketball, baseball, never played football, because fuck that. But I played baseball for one season, got my thumb broken by a guy named Chucko. I was playing catcher. He ran over me and broke my thumb, and I said, fuck that. Basketball, yeah. Well, they see a 6'1" black, well, I wasn't 6'1", I was probably a little bit shorter, 6'1" black boy with an afro and think, yes, we scored. Let me tell y'all something, motherfuckers. I, um, in my first game, basketball game, shot my basket, shot the ball into the wrong basket, my basket, our team's basket. So at that point, they benched me, and I didn't come on because it was a boys and girls league together, and I didn't come on until I was the last person to come on. And after that, I was like, "Fuck basketball," and I don't like basketball at all either. So I tended to like things that were more, I don't want to say female, but more women dominated. I liked women's soccer. I like softball. I like volleyball. And I love all these sports, and they're mostly dominated by women. Yeah. Okay. So we'll talk about band. Yeah, I played in middle school and in high school. Um, Hi, Frankie. Thanks for joining. I played tuba. Yeah, tuba. I had a lot of puff. My embouchure was awesome. Had a lot of puff. I was first chair for 4 years. The one thing I did not like to do, and the main reason I stopped in terms of music, was because they wanted me to march in high school. And I was like, no, I'm not going to march. I don't want to play in marching band at all. It's too hot. I don't like football. I don't want to wear that heavy instrument. I don't want to wear those clothings. So, in a rare instance of approval, I had my dad come up to the school and in front of the band instructor say, this, he said he, because, at that time, but he was like, he does not have to march. He does not have to call you sir because the teacher wanted me to call him sir. And of course, I lived in an army base. My dad is a colonel. So, pretty high ranking. He's a flight surgeon, airborne at 40, all that good stuff, and he is also one of the kindest men that I have ever known. He is not so good about my transition, and that's okay. We had a rough time where we didn't speak to each other. Me and my parents didn't speak to each other for 2 years after I told them. But over the last, I don't know, 8 years, they've been slowly coming around. And when I say slowly, I mean slowly, like so slowly that my dad first used my name on his 80th birthday and texted that too. And so I have a copy of the text. Someone said I should frame it, and I motherfucking think I'm going to. Yeah. So in terms of football, though, never liked it. My mom was like, "You're going to get hurt." She said, "You're going to get hurt," and so me and my bestie and an egg went to a football game, the Atlanta Falcons, and honestly, we left before the first quarter ended. We left before the first quarter ended. And the reason for that is because all three of us were like, this sucks, this absolutely sucks. So there was too many things going on in the field. On one end, there was like some kind of contest. On the other end, they were playing the actual game. There were so many timeouts, commercial timeouts, all this other kind of stuff. For me, I'm used to football, world football, where 45 minutes in stoppage time, and then another 45 minutes in stoppage time. You don't get timeouts. Nowadays they do, run a play, stop, run a play, stop. Yeah. That's football for you. But for football, 45 minute half is, no joke. You are busting ass, and it's a lot harder than people think. You don't stop. You run and you run and you run. I love football. I sincerely hope they take the World Cup away from the United States and put it in Mexico and Canada only. And that's me saying that, knowing that there will be games in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and I am from Atlanta. So I'm going to miss those because I'm not going to go based on my beliefs and also based on the fact that tickets are so expensive. Yeah, Frankie. So New Zealand, rugby. I've never played rugby, and to be completely honest, I don't understand the rules of rugby yet. It looks interesting, um, you know, but I have never played because we started arresting people over the Middle East getting it. Yeah, FIFA is a corrupt group anyway, so the way they assign World Cups is kind of crazy. I'm not sure how they're doing it or why they're doing it like the way they do it. The United States, Canada, and Mexico sounds like a great way to host it. And indeed it does, except for that American politics suck. So some of the teams that would be coming to the World Cup are, going to be in fear that they're going to be deported or detained by ICE. And this is getting crazy. So, yeah, yank the World Cup from the United States, make the United States lose all that money, tell Trump to shut the fuck up and, get the fuck over it. Do I have a team? Yes. So I do have a team. My team is Arsenal, the Gunners. Yes, the Arsenal, North London. Yeah, I've been supporting Arsenal since 2003. And yes, Thierry Henry is one of my favorite players of all time. So yes, the Invincibles. Yes, Iran is threatening to boycott. I think they said they weren't coming anyway. You dated an Arsenal fan? Yes, of course. There are Gooners everywhere. But yeah, my dream is to go to see Emirates Stadium. And so I am going. Oh, United, but you love Atlanta United. Atlanta United is not doing well. Celtic is doing okay, I guess. I don't follow the Scottish League as much as I used to. Um, Frankie, what am I passionate about these days? These days, I'm passionate about my poetry, my writing, music, basically anything arts related. I can't draw, but I love to make little doodles. I love talking. I could talk all day, you know. I am good at small talk and I'm great at long form conversations. I love deep conversations. Um, I don't do anything like with my hands in terms of knitting or any types of crafts like that. Egg is a crafter. Egg is the one in our household who builds everything, all the shelves, and anything that needs to be put together, she does it. I am not good at that. I am not good at reading instructions, as shown by this cute little podcast machine right here, which is nice and pink, which matches my Beats headphones. Yay! So, and also matches, like I said, my selfie stick. Yeah, so, oh, you can knit and sew. I wish I could sew. I really do wish I could sew. That is something that I think everybody needs to learn. I think everybody needs to have a home ec class, home education class in high school and in college. I think there are two things. Everybody should learn a foreign language in the United States from a very young age, and I also think people should take home ec. Because then it leads to, if you don't take home ec, it leads to inequalities. Men think that they don't have to do anything around the house. They can have their wives cook, clean, do their laundry and all this kind of bullshit. We're past those days. There needs to be some equality, equanimity. Yeah, those are survival skills, not gender roles. You're 100% right about that. Yeah, 100% right. Yeah, and so while I'm glad your grandmother made you learn how to cook, I am not a great cook. I can make a few things, but Egg is the cook. I am the cleaner. We both do the laundry. So we share duties. Um, you took home ec in 7th grade and private sewing lessons. Okay. Yeah, private sewing lessons would be great. And I would love to learn how to cook, like really cook, like Michelin star cook, chef's kiss cook. Yes. But, I'm not really there. And honestly, I don't know if I'll ever get there, and that's fine. I do love reading, which has been so I was a big reader, and when I say I was a big reader, I'm talking about maybe 3 or 4 books a week. I could read a book in a day. I was a fast reader, but then my poor eyes, got really bad, and I'm not able to read anymore, at least books, because the letters are too small. So I have everything magnified on my phone, and that what I'm talking about is the font. I have all the fonts up high on my phone, on my laptop, on my screens, anywhere where I can actually read. The font is high, and so that allows me to read online. So I read books online. I read articles. I am still very much a reader. It does kind of suck that I can't read all my Anne Rice books over and over again, or all my Fitzgerald books over and over again. I love classics. I love like vampire stories. I love poetry, so I have a lot of poetry books. I have several first editions. I've got a first edition. Okay. I probably shouldn't tell you all this, but yes. Yeah, girls got a first edition interview with the vampire. So that is tucked away where no one can find it. I've shown Egg twice, so she knows where it is, in the event that I am knocked off or pass away. But yeah, I do have some first edition. Yeah, I do have some first edition poetry books as well. I have several first edition books, and yeah, first edition, first printing. Um, I've worked in bookstores a good bit in my life. I worked in metaphysical stores, metaphysical bookstores. So we sell everything you can think of: crystal balls, scrying plates, crystals, cauldrons, um, athames, wands, cloaks, anything you can think of, books, chalices, incense, all of that good stuff. We had three cats running around. Um, and I loved them to death. I took care of them for 3. Hold on. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Oh, snap. Okay, can you hear me? Yay! Back on. Okay. So, yes, we had 3 cats and a dog, and we will not be doing that again. That was crazy. Um, just the vet bills alone are super expensive. And yes, we take our animals to the vet. We pay pet insurance, and we luckily we paid pet insurance with our pug because before our pug was a year old, he had to have a surgery that was $8,000. And yes, I am not kidding about that. $8,000. Now, we had to borrow from my parents in order to pay that vet bill, but we were seriously thinking, is he going to make it through the night? There was a point where we were just like, okay, so if he dies tonight, we will have given him the best 8 or 9 months that we could have. But that was a crazy night. He made it through surgery, and is now living a happy, full, content life. But that $8,000 was not happy and not content on our wallets. The good thing about it is when you have pet insurance, um, they will reimburse you. And so we got pretty much all of it back. So that was a nice windfall for us. We do have, pet insurance is expensive, and taking your pet to the vet is even more expensive. If you have 2 or 3 pets and they each have to go to the vet and they each get their yearly checkup plus flea and tick medication, which is a fucking grip in and of itself, it gets expensive. Um, so when Nyx crosses the Rainbow Bridge, then I will be able to get a cat again, because I'm missing my cat energy. Nyx will eat any and everything. He has to wear a muzzle when he goes outside because he does eat rocks, paper, leaves, anything he can find on the ground. He will eat. So he wears a muzzle. People think he bites. He does not bite. He is the least thing from a biter. He does not even give kisses. He will smell your breath, to see what you smell like and what's going on, but then he'll just turn around. Um, but yeah, so once he passes, then we'll get a cat and possibly another pug. Then, um, but yes, so getting back to FFS, like I said, 10-day countdown. I am going to be going live with Brandon Elrich Friday, and I think we're going to talk about FFS then, as well. Maybe not. I'm not really sure what he has in mind. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm ready. And I never thought I would be. Now, of course, there's like the minutia of things, the paperwork, the post-op. Well, it's really a pre-op hospital check-in. Like I had a pre-op surgical check-in with my surgical team. Now I have to have the pre-op with my hospital. So they will be calling tomorrow. I have a psychiatrist appointment tomorrow, so I'll get everything. I have bipolar disorder and some other issues, ADHD, generalized anxiety disorder, panic attacks, all of that. So we'll have to get my medications taken care of for after surgery, and how I can take them, when I can take them, how I can take them. Also with the estrogen, everything I've read says you're supposed to stop taking estrogen 2 weeks before surgery. Well, I have not talked to the hospital, so they have not given me any information. I took my estrogen shot today, so I'm all hooked up on estrogen for the next week. Um, I hope that nothing happens with that. I hope that they're cool with that. Um, so let's see what else. Blood pressure, yes. I do have high blood pressure. Yes, I do. I'm taking losartan for that, losartan 50 milligrams. It's somewhat controlled, but not 100. I need to exercise a little bit more. So these next couple of days, I'm really going to push it to see if I can, lower that blood pressure a little bit, like not have so much salt intake. I do wear compression stockings. They're not stockings, they're socks, because I don't want to say I'm wearing stockings, because really I'm not. Um, but I wear compression socks. I have high blood pressure. Yeah. I'm hoping, hopefully they'll give me those blood pressure, or the foot, the leg things that they give you when you're in surgery, so that I don't throw any clots. I am going to request that I wear my compression socks anyway. And if they want to put the leg things on me, go ahead and do that. That is fine. Um, the mental stuff, there's a lot of notation about after the surgery, how there's a depressive episode. So, um, yeah, dental surgery. So, yeah, dental surgery is something that I will probably need at one point. I'm hoping that, my surgeon checked everything out though and said everything's good. So I did a CT scan. Um, of course, he is not an oral surgeon or a dentist, so he wasn't really looking too much in my mouth. I guess he did from the CT scan. I guess it was enough to say, okay, we can go ahead and deal with this. Um, Yanni, I hope that you are a good candidate for surgery. Oh, 5 teeth and I need my jaw. Oh, wow, that's a lot of dental surgery. I hope that it goes well for you. Um, that Egg has some broken teeth now, and I have a right there missing tooth, which I refuse to get filled unless I get gold or silver, and I want gold or silver fang. Egg is not, and the rest of my family and my bestie are not too happy about that. Um, oh, you got a massive overbite. I've got a little bit of an overbite, and my jaw is not, everything's not centered as far as my teeth are concerned. Um, I I had braces. I wore braces. I wore a retainer, but I stopped wearing my retainer, and of course, my teeth shifted. I grind my teeth sometimes. Um, back in the day when I used to do a lot of drugs, especially coke, I was a teeth grinder, because if you've done any kind of coke or ecstasy or anything like that, you grind your teeth. And so I was a teeth grinder, a tooth grinder. I hope that I still fall back on that. So I try not to do that, but I still have times when I do it. Um, I hope that after surgery, I'm not going to be teeth grinding. I hope that after surgery, I can, yeah. Oh, you remember from your speed days? Yes, yes, yes. I have a love affair and I had a love affair and a divorce from my drug seeking days. To be completely honest, if it was put in front of me today, I probably would still do it. I do not put myself in those positions anymore. I don't drink anymore. I've been clean since 2012, with the exception of the 420, the Mary Jane. I will smoke that until the day I die. True story. Um, yes. Oh, yes. Yanni, stop taking me back. Yeah, 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 yeah. But in terms of surgery, like I said, I'm ready. Nice, Yanni, 2017. I actually stopped drinking maybe a year and a half ago. Not because I had anything addiction wise to alcohol. I just stopped because I didn't like the taste. Like all these years I've been drinking, and I really have never liked the taste. And beer doesn't do it for me because beer is nasty, and all it did was make me bloated. Liquor was more my speed. But I just don't drink anymore. I realized that I don't like the taste of it. And also I used to smoke. I smoked from the age of 16 to the age of like 42, 43. No, 41. 16 to 41. And I quit one day. One day I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't want to smoke anymore. The taste is nasty. And so I stopped smoking. And it was just that easy for me. Just as easy as quitting drinking. Um, and now I can't stand the smell of smoke, cigarette smoke. Cannot stand it. Cannot stand to be around anyone who smells like cigarette smoke. Cannot stand to look at cigarettes. I mean, I'm just disgusted by them, and I'm disgusted by myself that I smoked so long. But Mocktails for the win, of course. Yes, a good mocktail any day. um, but yeah, surgery is coming up. I'm good. I'm good. Now that may all change in a couple of days. I expect the nerves to fluctuate. Um, I expect though to have a good outcome. I really do. I expect my surgeon's hands to be skillful, and the most skillful he's been on that day. I understand that it's going to take a while for him to perform the surgery, as he's going to have to step out and take a couple of breaks. 12 to 14 hours is no joke, and no surgeon can operate. Well, I shouldn't say no surgeon, because they do in ERs and um, in hospitals with like gunshot wounds and crazy stuff like that. But a surgeon operating for 12 to 14 hours, they have to take a break. So there will be a break. As he told me, he said, I will probably take, 10 to 15 minutes. I was like, shit, you should probably take like 30 minutes if you're really tired. I don't want you to be super tired and working on my face. So he said he would take 10, 15 minutes to use the bathroom, go get something to eat, get a drink. Thank you, Yanni. I do too. I really have a good feeling about this. And usually my gut feelings, my intuition is not wrong. Um, I feel really good. And I tell people this. Some people believe it, some people don't. But I read energy. I can feel energy off of people, and definitely read it. And um, reading my surgeon's energy, the whole surgical team, the insurance people. I got a great sensation, like truthful, honest. Hey, gay boy, what's up? Um, and truthfully, the energy I'm getting from my surgeon, while it's a little bit of a god complex, I feel like every surgeon has to have that. And my dad was an OBGYN. He delivered over 4,000 babies. He delivered me. That was not supposed to happen, but of course he did. So I understand, and he understands the ins and outs of surgery. And while he's an OBGYN and not a maxocranial facial plastic surgeon, whatever my surgeon's titles are, he understands the ins and outs of an operating room. So it was great to have him and my mother and Egg all in the room when we went over the the pre-op. Yeah, that's what it's called, the pre-op. Now of course, my parents are on a cruise. Egg is going to be uh, in a meeting. So I will be taking this post the post op, the pre op post op hospital call by myself, which is usually not something I do by myself because I tend to miss information when I'm writing it down. So what I'm going to do is ask them if I can record the conversation. And if I can record it, then I will have the information needed on a recording, and I can go back and, of course, transcribe it, write it down later. Um, I am, I'm not concerned. I hope that I've got all my ducks in a row. I've got all the information from all of my doctors. I have Crohn's disease, so I see a gastroenterologist. He's written me a letter and sent it to my surgical team as to what he thinks my aftercare should be in terms of my Crohn's disease. Um, I have, of course, a psychiatrist and a therapist, and they are on board. My internist is on board. My nephrologist, I do have stage 3 kidney disease, but it has been stable for like the last 10 years. Seriously, my creatinine is always high. It's been between 1.5 and 1.8 for the last 8 years. Um, my my nephrologist is in between offices now. So he will not be in his new office until early 2026. So that I could see as being the only like hiccup. And it's not going to be a hiccup. It's just going to be like, okay, what do we do now? They're not going to be able to get in touch with him, and that's fine. I can, I don't know, like I have records, I guess. I can get some records if they need them. Um, but other than that, everything else is ready. We aren't ready in terms of food. That is the one thing I'm concerned about. Because I'm going to come home and I know I'm not going to want to eat the first day or maybe not even the second day, but I'm going to need to start getting nutrition in. Um, so with that in mind, we've got those Premier protein shakes. Now, I think they're protein shakes. They've got a little bit of protein. They're chocolate, so yum, yum, yum. Get some ice cream, some Jello, some soup. There we go. Soups and light things. Some mashed potatoes, anything that's easy for me to eat, kind of suck on, because I won't be able to open my mouth wide. And I won't be able to, because I'll have sutures like right in here. So I also can't do anything that'll rupture those sutures. So it's like slow going, no hard things, no steak. He said no steak for the first couple of weeks. Like he's under the impression, my surgeon, that I'll be able to eat steak like, I don't know, in maybe 3 weeks. I'd like to see that because my going in meal, the meal that I get to have, that I can't eat 8 hours before surgery. Yes, plus the post surgery nausea because of the anesthesia. I have a scopolamine patch and scopolamine patch that I'm going to put on my left collarbone, and it'll stay on for 3 days. The day before surgery or the night before surgery, and the day after. And then I will have Zofran. And my Zofran has already been called in. Everything's been called in, all the medications I'll need. I just have those to pick up tomorrow. And I'll be ready with my medication. So, the only thing is the food. We still have to get the sheets clean and everything kind of sterile in the space that I will be, which is in the back room, which is also known as the bedroom. We just call it the back room. I call it the back room because it's in the back. So in the back room, we have a TV in there. Our bed's nice and big. It's comfy. So we have these U-shaped pillows and wedges and other pillows. So I'll have to sleep sitting up or else my face will slough off or like be disfigured. So I will be sleeping sitting up, which will be a little bit of a pain in the ass. I haven't done that in a long time. And who knows? I will be in and out of it anyway. I don't like oxys or anything like that, but I will be taking them. My thing is, when I'm in the hospital, y'all need to give me Dilaudid. Dilaudid is my shit. I like an IV of Dilaudid. And if I could take an IV of Dilaudid, I shouldn't say that, because I would be an addict again. And this is my addiction talking, my addict speak. But yeah, Dilaudid in the hospital. Dilaudid at home through an IV would be perfect for after surgery. But of course, they're not going to give me that. They're just going to give me like 5 oxys or something like that, and then take like 800 milligram aspirin or Tylenol or ibuprofen. And then, so I'll mix the ibuprofen and the acetaminophen. I'm really not supposed to take ibuprofen because of my Crohn's disease, but I think they're making an exception for this one. Um, I yeah, so yeah, that post-surgery nausea is going to be a big deal. 12 to 14 hours under anesthesia is really going to be a big deal. Um, uh, the people around me are a little concerned, and they have every right to be. 14 hours is not a joke. And I myself am a little concerned because honestly, I had small bowel resections, which is where for Crohn's disease, when you have diseased intestines, they take out the diseased area and then splice the two parts of the intestines back together. And so they did that. It got infected. I had sepsis. I almost died. I was in the ICU for 9 days. My family was called to my bedside. It was rough. But the nausea from the anesthesia was kind of crazy. Like I woke up after surgery was complete, is what they said. I woke up and I thought I saw a fucking alien, y'all. Like the old school aliens that you see with the crazy head and the crazy eyes. I thought I saw one of those motherfucking aliens looking down at me with these really bright lights, like they were operating on me. And I immediately passed out. Yes. And then I woke back up. So, and everything was good. Yeah, 14 hours under. That's it, it's a long time. It's a clip. 14 hours under. I just it's gonna feel like a second to me, which is great. I'm gonna go to sleep and wake up like boom, but they're gonna be like sweating their ass off and doing their work. So here's hoping from my mouth to the universe that they do great, grand work on my face, because honestly, and it's not that I hate my face, but I don't hate it, but I do. There are parts about it I do hate, like this brow ridge right here. I want them to kind of obliterate this, and they're going to. My nose right here, not this area, but just up top right here. And they are going to give me a little pudge of a nose, a little upturn. I will be getting a lip lift, and the lip lift, they do a cut under your nose and take about a centimeter of the philtrum out. And the reason they do that is because people who are assigned female at birth, their philtrums, the distance between their nostril, their nose, and their lip is usually shorter than a person assigned male at birth. So in order to achieve that femininity, and the overall symmetry of the face, the lip lift is going to happen. So it'll also show a little bit of my teeth, my front teeth. So that would be kind of cute. Nice front teeth. The chin is going to be one of the cool things. They're gonna do my chin, and I have requested multiple times that I get a piece of my chin bone to take home. And people think it's crazy, but I figure if Catholics do it, why the fuck can't I do it? If the Catholic Church or the Holy Roman Church or whatever it is takes like fingers and shit like that for relics, I can take a chin bone. When I had my orchiectomy, and if y'all don't know what an orchiectomy is is the surgical removal of your testicles. It aids in, of course, in multiple things. But so I had my testicles removed, and I wanted to keep those, but they thought I was joking and would not let me keep them. I know several trans women who have their testicles, their balls, in a refrigerator in formaldehyde. We'll get that word right. You know what I'm saying? But so yeah, I want a piece of chin bone. When Egg passes, if she passes before me, she's got a tattoo that I want. a piece of her skin that the tattoo is on. I've read about several places that will actually take the skin. Oh, you kept the teeth. Oh, awesome! You're your own tooth fairy. Um, yeah. So the skin, the tattoo on egg, I want. It's called Hands Forget. Let's see. What's called Mind Forgets, Hands Remember. It's really cool. And I also want to get her pinky toe. She has two tattoos on. She has a tattoo on either foot, and one of them is of a dragon, and it's the dragon pinky toe that I want. So people think I'm a little nutty about this, but I really am not. It's just something that I want to do. I have, I create, so I like to get strange things, but people will think it's strange, but it's not really strange. That's my bat, Batty Batterson. And I've had her for a long time. She's just chilling. I have a lot of other strange things too. I just won't show them on camera right now. But yeah, I'm going to the morning of. I'm going to be documenting this all the way through. So I will be taking pictures. I'll be taking selfies every day. Every day up to the morning of. I'll probably record a live or a vid the morning of, and of course the days coming up to it. The first time Egg sees me, I told her to take a picture of me, regardless of how she thinks I look. If I look like a monster, I want her to take a picture of me. Regardless of how I look, I want the picture for documentation purposes. I want to be able to see what I look like at the beginning of this surgery, in the end of the actual surgery, and a year down the line, because FFS takes about 9 months to a year and a half to actually completely heal. There's a lot of swelling, there's a lot of numbness, there's a lot of tingling, like when they take the staples out and all the nerves start reconnecting. I've heard it feels like ants marching through your skin, and you get this feeling of the sutures in your skin. But that is something I'll have to deal with. Ants are not my favorite. I actually hallucinated that I was covered in ants. Yes, bipolar disorder. Yes. So I hallucinated that I was covered in ants. Went to my mom's house, had her spray me down with the hose at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Many adventures with bipolar disorder. So, that's one of the reasons I have my psychiatrist on board. And we're working on a plan in order to take the meds that I need. There are a lot of reports of post-op depression. And, since with the bipolar disorder, I don't want that depression to go a little too deep and dark, if it does happen at all. Recently, I haven't been getting depressive cycles. My last depression was in 2016, depressive episode. Since then and before then, I get manic episodes. So I'm bipolar 1. I have my last manic episode started in March of this year, ended in September of this year, where I raised a lot of hell, did a lot of crazy things. So, now I'm stable again, and it took a while for me to get stable. A lot of med changes. So basically what I'm saying is we don't want this to happen again. I don't want to go manic again, at least while I'm in surgery, like while I'm healing from surgery. I don't want to be in a depressive episode. I don't want a mixed episode, because mixed episodes are kind of crazy too. Mixed episodes are part of the manic side of the spectrum, where it's usually kind of what it says. A mixed episode is mania and some depression, but mainly mania and anger, like strong anger. Like when I'm in an episode, I do have anger spells anyway. So, that's just not good. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be yelling at Muff. I've got to remember that she is going to be my caretaker, and she's been my caretaker before for bottom surgery. So, I have to respect the fact that she's going to be doing everything that she can to keep me healthy and to keep me working, safely. So I will defer everything to her. I don't know if she's going to be on here making lives, but I'm going to try and squeak one out maybe 3 days after surgery. Just so y'all can see my bandaged face and all that stuff. Maybe I can show you my staples too, which I hear hurts like a motherfucker when they're removed. But yeah, they're basically going to do a incision right here and then pull down my face, which I wish I could see. One of the a substacker named I think Abomination, and I'm sorry if I'm getting your name wrong, my friend. Oh no, hold on just a minute. Let me see. I do have Abomination About Town wrote a really great piece on FFS. She had her FFS, I believe, last year. And without a face. Yeah. But Abomination About Town had her FFS, I think, last year or the year before. She documented everything. She was able to have cameras in the OR, in the operating room, or a camera person. Who recorded everything? So documentation of the face being pulled down, the working on the side face, or well, her face wasn't pulled down. I believe she just had this and a little bit of this. I'm not sure what she had. I did read it, but I forget right now. I do know that my face is going to be pulled down. There will be some numbness upon everything being done. So my scalp could be numb for like a month. My chin could be numb for like 2 months. There will be some numb spots. And I'm hoping that there will be some numb spots because I still have hair like right in this area and right in this area, up through here, and a little bit of mustache. Now, I do go to laser, which I can't, of course, go to. I haven't been able to go to for the last 2 months. Mainly because I can't have laser and electro close together, electrolysis, and also because I can't have laser this close to surgery. So the laser had to stop. The laser is good at removing the darker hairs. Laser does not work on gray hairs, red hairs, anything like that. The only way to remove hair permanently, and this is permanently, this is not laser because everything laser says is a lie. It is not a permanent removal of hair. It is a removal of hair that so it is so thin and so sparse that you may not see it for a month or two, but it comes back. The only permanent hair removal, is electrolysis. And electrolysis is painful as fuck. They take a little probe that is electric and stick it in every single pore, every single follicle, I should say, every single hair follicle, and then they zap it. They basically kill it at the follicle, at the root. I have spent, no joke, probably $15,000 already, and I probably have 2 to 3 years left. So the person I was seeing, she was charging $75. Her fee could have been $100, $150, because there are places in Atlanta that do charge $150. Looking at you, I'm not going to say the name on camera, but they know who they are. They be charging wild amounts. Yeah, so my electrologist charges me $75, but $75 for someone who isn't working is a lot of money. Oh, and I should say, yes, I am not working anymore. I stopped working on 5/5. If you know anything about numerology, 5 is the number of change. So on that day, after my last panic attack, I had to be like, fuck it, I am out of this bitch. So 5/5 was my last day. It was a great day of change, and I did make that change. And ever since then, I've had maybe one panic attack. My anxiety has been controlled. But I think that's also because I've finally gotten a medicine regimen that's working for me in terms of my anxiety and panic attacks. I do take a lot of drugs to sleep, It's kind of crazy. If you had heard the amount of drugs I take to sleep and getting only 5 to 6 hours of sleep, you would be like, what the actual fuck? Because the kind of medicine I take would knock somebody out for 14 hours. It just doesn't do it for me at all. Um, so yeah, yeah. Right now, I can't think of anything else to say. So yeah, 10-day countdown starts today, and actually, it is now 6:01. So almost tomorrow. Well, not almost tomorrow, but it will be in 6 hours. So yeah, I'm ready, y'all. Thanks for joining in. I'm going to call this a session. Everybody who's on that I didn't say hey to, hey. Thanks for coming and signing in. I will probably be live again. Well, I'll definitely be live with Brandon Elrich on Friday. And oh my God, everything is going off. Hold off, y'all. I see Wendy just popped up with something. Um, oh my God, signal's popping off too. Okay, y'all. I'm going to go right now. Thank you so much for tuning in, and catch me on another day before my surgery. All right, peace. And chicken grease.